a podcast hosted by Joe Dietrich, Joe on the mic, Leader Talk. Well, all right, we're back on our next episode, and I'm so happy to have Kathryn May on with us today. And she is a transformational coach, and I love it. I love about transformation. I love about wellness. I love that she does weight loss coaching as well, and she's been through a transformation of her own. If she's going to share with us today, and we're going to just jump right into it. I'm going to introduce her and share you guys her bio real quick. Kathryn May is a transformation wellness and weight loss coach, author, and YouTube personality who empowers Christian women to achieve holistic health God's way. I love that. With a unique blend of trauma-informed coaching, biblical wisdom, and emotional intelligence, Kathryn guides women through a journey of inner healing and mindset shifts. I was going to say shifts, but it says mindset shifts. She is the author of two impactful books, Behind Enemy Lies and the Healing and Truth Journal, which serves as a roadmaps to breaking free from limiting beliefs and emotional barriers. And Kathryn, thank you so much for coming on the show. We appreciate you being here.
Yeah, I'm so glad to be here. Thanks for inviting me on.
Yeah. And I'm excited. I don't know if anybody hears it in my voice, but I listened to some of your YouTube episodes, and you're just rocking it. And guys, go to her. She's going to share with us her YouTube channel and everything else like that later. But she's helping people transform their lives and to get into a better place, in a biblical place of wellness. And we're going to be talking about transformation. And Kathryn, what does that mean when you want people to take, I guess, responsibility for their own transformation? What is that to you? And let us know a little bit something that's
Yeah.
outside of that, out of the bio we just did.
Yeah. Well, the way I see it is, transformation, I always look at transformation in regards to like the butterfly, right?
Mm.
And so our transformation in life is that, we're born and then we learn a bunch of stuff and we grow and we shift and we change and we become right throughout life. And, something I always say is we're human beings, we're not human doings. And so we're becoming as we're being, and that's a process of change. And so transformation will only come if you say, hey, like I'm going to take responsibility for this shift or this change, and growth starts to happen, right? Growth like can only happen when we expand, when like if you eat a lot at Thanksgiving, you need a bigger pair of pants, right? You
Yeah,
can't
that's other
stay in the
expansion.
smaller, right? Yeah, you can't stay in the smaller pants. And so that's where we have to take responsibility for our growth. And when I say transformation, I also mean growth. Like that's change in general. And a lot of people are afraid of change, the word change. They think it's uncomfortable. They don't want to deal with it. But truly, the only thing in this whole wide world that is constant is that change will always come.
Mm.
Really. I mean, that's just the way it is. So either we take responsibility for the way it's going to turn out. We either let, take life by the reins, you got one and Jesus got the other, or you just let life happen to you.
Mm.
And you just go with the flow and you say, well, it's because of them. It's because of this. It's because of that situation, circumstance, whatever else it is that I'm in this place today that I'm in. It's all this or their fault. Right. And so that's where I think that I started learning at a very early age that I had the ability to change my life. I did not have to stay the course that I was on. I could do something different. And when the pain of staying the same got greater than the pain of change, I began to change. And the Bible is very clear about transformation in Romans 12:2. It says you will be transformed in this only way is by renewing your mind. So I had to start with the mindset. I had to drop all the junk. I had to deal with the victim mentality and all of the thoughts I had about it has to be this way and why it was this way and blaming and all the things, right? Like I had to just get real with myself, get honest with myself, get honest before the Lord, humble myself and like eat some dirt a little bit and go, okay, like, oh, I need to work on that. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Let's do this too. So it's just a constant process. So transformation is just that, all about that to me. I don't think that we just decide I'm going to change one day and then suddenly we're somebody different tomorrow. It's a process. It's a lifetime of change. And I think that once we're done changing, we've left this earth. And we're going to change until forever. Transformation continues to happen. But sometimes we get stuck in the process. We get stuck in our wanting to go from, where we are to where we want to be. And we need a little help. And that's what I come along and help women do. So
Now,
yeah.
man, hey guys, she just came in firing with both guns ablaze. No, that was super cool, because sometimes we need that, right? I've experienced that myself when I was going through a little a rut. It was in 2008, and then I had somebody who was one of my supervisors kick me in the butt, and she said, "Stop complaining and do something."
Yeah.
Right. And, and for lack of a better term, Kathryn is basically saying, stop complaining and do something. Because sometimes we just need to take a hard look and say, stop blaming other people and take some actions. Do what you can do. Right. And then Kathryn, I know I said a short bio of you, but Kathryn's been there, done that, bought the t-shirt. And can you share with our audience, like, hey, what was something that you had to, and I know what the answer is, but for the audience, like, what was something that you had to like take a hard look at yourself and say, look, I need to do something, and
Right.
stop
Right.
walking in wallowness, basically, and so
Yeah.
and blaming everybody else.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, honestly, God is still working on me in this area. And I've been on this journey since I started learning about self-development, and that I had the ability to shift the trajectory of my life when I was in my early 20s. And I'm 40, I'll be 41 soon. And so I've been doing this a long time. And even recently, the Lord said to me, Kathryn, you want change in your life, but you don't want to have to change anything in your life.
Ouch.
And I
Ouch.
was like, yeah, I thought, what are you talking about? Look at all I've changed, God. How could you say that to me? But he was right about an area. So we compartmentalize things in our life. And that's what I was doing. I had changed all these things. I had dealt with all these other things, but I had still some things within me, pertaining to my physical health that I had not wanted to release. And I had not really thought God cared much about my physical health,
Mm,
as far as what I ate, how much I took care of my body on the outside, until I realized that our bodies are a temple of the Holy Spirit. And that so much of the decisions that I was making about food, or actions or inactions, I call them, like the decisions to do or not do, came from a place of feeling, still things that I needed change in, right? Transformation in mindset shifts in, and to be renewed. And that was like my worth and value at a greater level. I needed to release some stuff that I had made agreements with.
mm,
And I wanted my waistline to shrink. I wanted the rockin' hot body, right? I wanted to do all the things, but I really didn't want to have to work for it. And God's like, okay, so you want change, but you just want somebody to come along and do it for you. So that's where diets come in, where I was like, oh, I'll just go and do this diet, and I'll go and do that diet, where I could stay on it for a couple of weeks. And then suddenly, I might lose 10 pounds and go, awesome. Like, I'm a supermodel now. I'm going to eat all the Snickers and Doritos that I can handle. And that was the vicious cycle of my life. And so
yep.
God was like, hey, actually, it's a deeper than that. This matters to me a lot. And so we're going to deal with this. If you really want change, it looks like work, and it is work, because there's this intentionality that had to come, where I
Mm,
spent time saying, okay, I'm going to make this decision. I'm going to go the different route. I'm going to take my health in a different direction. And it's going to be with God at the helm, not the diet industry, and not all the things that I thought I knew and what the world says I need to do for health. And it's not about a number on the scale. It's not about all these other things I used to think it was about. And so just recently went on this journey with God over the last couple of years of just getting to the point where I had been transformed. I had to submit all this stuff to him, because I've been through a lot of abuse, a lot. I grew up, being abused as a child. And then this is why I wrote the book Behind Enemy Lies, because the enemy took the circumstances of my life and held me in this like self-imposed prison in my mind. And I thought these things because of circumstances, because this happened to me, this must be the truth. And
mm,
so the enemy caused me to believe all these lies by showing me evidence that was real and then distorting the truth. And so I was believing all these things about me, which also led to, me eating to protect myself, because I thought I had to put on this protective layer and, all these other things. But nobody came and held my hand and said, Kathryn, you need to change these things. I had to make the decision within myself that I see a gap, I see a problem, I see an issue, and I want to be used for God in any way that he would sees fit. And these were things that were hindering me, or I could see myself continuously tripping over and skinning my knees on. And I just was tired of being in pain over it. And so, like I said, the pain of change, right, needed to become, or the pain of, change needed to become greater than the pain of staying, or pain of staying the same needed to become greater than the pain of change. And that's what happened. And yeah,
Mm.
so yeah.
Wow, wow, wow. Guys. I love this because intentionality is a big deal. And some people just say, "Oh yeah, I got to be intentional." I say, "No, for real." The I know the scripture tells us, what is it in 3 John 1:2? It says, "I pray that you may enjoy good health, that it may go well with you, even as your soul goes well." Or and there's other ones that say, "As your he wants our to be us to be in health bodily, as our spirit is healthy." So you're right. God wants us to have health, right? As our
Yeah.
soul prospers. He wants everything. He wants everything about us to be in abundance, because in John 10:10, God says, or Jesus said it himself, he said he wants us to have life and life more abundantly. He didn't say to have a future life like present tense. And I love that you're coming here, going through your own journey. You've had some success. God's helped you through that process. And guys, she's sharing with you, like, look, I'm here to help you with that journey. And I love the way you say that. It's like you're tripping over the same thing, tripping over the same thing. And you guys, you might be feeling that too. It's like, why am I still going through this mess? Why am I still going through this, going around the same mountain all the time? And sometimes you need like a Kathryn to say, hey, look, I'm here to help you. I'm here to guide you through the process, so you're not going over the same mountain again, going over the same path, wondering why I'm still dealing with this mess. And sometimes it's when we say, hey, I need to do weight loss. And then Kathryn is here and says, okay, it's about the weight loss. Let's help you with the weight loss. But hey, there's something a little bit here, a little bit deeper. I'm going to help you through that, because that's actually the root of the issue. For you to experience weight loss, you have to take a step back and say, look, let me get over this little hurdle from the past. And I know what you're talking about. I've been there, done that, bought the t-shirt, and it's still a journey. But I have coaches and mentors. And Kathryn's a coach and a mentor for women who want to get over that tripping hazard, for lack of a better term, to better health and wellness and experience the fullness and the abundance that God has for you. But for the people out there who say, all right, Kathryn, you know what? I hear you. Uh, so what is like a practical step that I can take right now to I guess do that 1% in a better direction? Do you, what is that thing that they
Yeah.
might be looking for?
Well, I mean, honestly, just being honest. Let's just say that, like, just being honest with yourself and where you're at,
Mhm.
looking at where you want to go. And then you had mentioned the mountain, going around the same mountain over and over again, but you can see your other mountain. You can see the mountain you're supposed to be on. It's off in the distance, like 20 miles away. You can see it over there, but you just don't know how to get there. And so you just need somebody to come along and give you like the roadmap to get here, take this trail, don't step here, you'll fall off the cliff. There's a big jungle over there. You're going to get eaten by a snake, go this way. You need the the roadmap. You need somebody who's been there before you that can turn around and say, here, take my hand. Here's the roadmap. So you don't go through the minefield and get your leg blown off, right? They know where the mines are. They know where the traps are. They can give you the process, right? The map to get there. And so if you get in your car and you have no idea where you're going to start driving to, and you just start driving, you're going to end up in a place you never meant to be, because you didn't even really know where you meant to be to begin with. So ultimately, you need to be honest with yourself about where you are and where you want to go, and then get the help that you need to get there by any means necessary. Like, humble yourself. It's okay to ask for help. That's so super important. So I think being self-led does not mean doing it by yourself.
Yes.
It means doing it with the linking arms, right? With people that can help you, and in the Holy Spirit that will guide you. He's the greatest counselor of all. And spending time, like, turn off the TV, turn off all the distractions, even turn off all this amazing learning, right? Like, turn off all of it and just sit quietly and start writing what's going on in your mind, writing down your goals, writing down not just your goals, but who do you want to become? Because goal setting is not actually biblical, like, except for, running towards the prize. Paul talks about, endurance to run your race towards the prize, but it's not a goal. It's about the process. It's about becoming. So we're human beings. Like I said, we're not human doings. And so it's very important to look at our life in this way of becoming who you want to be, because everything we do comes out of our identity and
Mm.
who we believe we are, who we've been told we are, who we act how we believe, right? Because our thoughts actually create beliefs within us, strongholds and beliefs and systems within us, and our reticular activating system in our mind starts to look for evidence. It scans for evidence to support all of our beliefs and all of our thoughts. And then what happens? The result is our actions or inactions, which is the fruit that shows up on the outside of the tree. The root system is the thoughts and the beliefs. So what is the fruit that's growing on the outside? That's your actions or your inactions. And sometimes you're producing all this yucky fruit, or you're trying to chop off the branch and act like it's going to produce fruit for you again next year. And it's not. You chop the branch off, it's laying on the ground, it's dying, it can't produce fruit. You need somebody that's going to come along and help you sometimes, and that is okay. I definitely needed that. God gave me amazing checkpoint people in my life. I discuss that in great detail in my book. And how journaling and how sitting quietly, and journaling isn't like keeping a diary, like, dear diary, this happened today. Journaling is a proven method for helping even reduce blood pressure, believe it or not,
Wow.
causing your whole body to just relax and release. And in order to release, all the stuff that's going on inside of you, it's not about running harder, pushing faster, piling more on top, being more distracted. It's about, like, calming yourself down, literally saying, I release everything and everything to you, everyone and everything to you, Lord. And here's all the stuff that I've been holding on to. And there was a study done. I know this is difficult because, like, I'm getting ready to tell you something that might blow your mind. This study they did with 30 women and 30 men, and they had them go into a room, silent room, where it was like one of those that you couldn't hear anything at all, the soundproof rooms. And they gave them a button, and they said, this button, if you push this button, it'll shock you and it's going to hurt. It's not going to kill you, but it's really going to hurt. Okay. You have to sit in here with yourself quietly for 5 minutes, and that's it. You just have to sit in here alone with you and your thoughts for 5 minutes. If you can't handle it, push the button and we'll let you out. We'll let you come out of the room. Out of the 30 women, they said, like, a crazy high percentage, like 58% of the women actually push the button to shock themselves and get out of the situation of sitting quietly for 5 minutes. They would rather feel physical pain than sit with themselves. And they said a percentage of men, and the percentage of men was higher than the percentage of women. So women can sit a little bit longer than the men could, but it doesn't matter. Regardless, the numbers were still very high. And it was alarming to me because I thought, wow, that's true. If we sit with ourselves and we hear what's going on up there, it can seem as though it would overwhelm us. But the
Mm.
truth is, that's the only way to release it. That's the only way to get rid of it. That's the only way to know what's going on in there so that you can feel it. Okay. So you can deal with it, so you can heal. That's what I teach: feel, deal, and heal, in order to get through all of the emotional weight and baggage and stuff that's going on from before. It's not about performing more. It's not about doing better. It's not about showing up at a great perfectionist level. It's about being filled up, because you can't pour into people you're trying to lead if you are empty. You cannot pour from an empty cup. Now, how are you going to be filled? Uh, Read another self-help book? No. How are you going to be filled? Spending time in the Word and renewing your mind, period. Like, and getting help and get people that speak life into you in truth.
Wow, 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 wow. Wow. That was something else. That was something else because I guess what does it say in Psalm even Psalm 46 10, I think it is. The Lord tells us to be still and know that He is the Lord. And I like there's another version that says, stop your fighting amongst yourselves. And sometimes we're fighting in our brain so much about all these different things, and we don't let the Lord be the Lord over all of it and give Him reins and guide us through those things that we want resolution on. And it's such an important thing, guys. Hopefully you're writing this stuff down. And I wrote down. She said one of the biggest things, and this is difficult. That they're gonna folks, you're gonna need Kathryn's help on this part, because it says have an honest assessment of where you are. I wrote that down. Honest assessment. And sometimes we don't want to be honest with it, because the truth and reality is that God's been trying to say, give me that. Just let me have that. Because what does He say? He says, my burden is light. Take upon my yoke, which is easy. My burden is light. And sometimes we just want to hold on to it because we want to justify. It's like, no, they did this to me. I got to hold on to this. It's mine. And God's like, no, I don't want it to be yours, because you're having a hard time with it. Hello. So for that person, Kathryn, that says, look, you know what? I do want to make an honest assessment of where I'm at right now to start their journey, but I'm kind of hesitant because there might be some pain behind it. How can you encourage them to go ahead and take that step? You know,
Well, okay. Yeah. Choose your hard. Just choose your hard. I'm sorry. I am very straightforward to the point. What you're dealing with right now is hard. What you're going to deal with is hard. But hey, choose your hard. The greatest promise, though, is that the end of the hard that you're going to choose for your transformation and to face your emotions and to face the pain, whether it's that you've been a victim of abuse or abandonment or neglect, or you've been seriously hurt, or you just have all these things. Maybe a teacher said something terrible to you, or whatever it is you got going on in your mind. It's not going to actually overwhelm you like you think, because you're covered and protected. The Father's not going to give you anything more than what you can handle, as far as like you're not going to fall. You may bend, but you won't break. Let me just say it like that. He may cause pressure, but it's for expansion. Okay. The pressure is for expansion. You need some bigger pants. That's fine. Get some bigger pants. Okay. No problem. But what you're dealing with right now is hard because you have no end in sight. If you don't release it, if you don't deal with it. So there's no end in sight. It's hard still, for sure. You're carrying around this burden. You have this really cool, like I said this today in my Bible study on YouTube, I said, we're carrying around these really cool backpacks, and they're like Louis Vuitton backpacks, and they're so pretty. And then we just walk around and we pick up all these hurts, and we pick up all these pains, and we pick up all these words, and they're like big rocks and boulders, and some are pebbles, and we just keep putting them in our cool Louis Vuitton backpacks, and we or walk around with them, and we think, well, we look awesome, but we are weighed down. Our backs are hurting physically. Our backs are hurting physical, like back pain has a lot to do with emotional trauma and turmoil, and our bodies hold on to trauma at the cellular level. So we need to deal with it. There's specific strategic ways to deal with trauma at the cellular level, to get it out, to be rid of it. And there's a lot of correlations in the Bible between trauma and a lot, especially David talked about it a lot, trauma in our emotions and physical pain in our body. So it has a lot to do with each other. And so it's very important. So you're dealing with hard right now. You're facing perfectionism. You're trying to run and push through all the hurdles. You're trying to do it all in your own strength. You're trying to hope nobody ever finds out about your problems. You're holding on to anger. You're being mean to people around you. Like, you can't push through. That's holding God's plans back from what He wants to do. It's like a wall. He can't get through. And so you're just beating your head up against the wall. That's pretty painful. So then on the other hand, you're going to face all those emotions. You're going to deal with all the things. You're going to walk through maybe some difficult times. Guess what? You might even cry. Oh, that's okay. Because tears are physically healing, scientifically proven. And that's funny because the Bible already said what science proves over and over again, that tears are healing. And you physically will heal when you release tears. It's amazing what happens in our body when we cry. You can go Google it. It's pretty cool. But when you finally get through all those things that you feel like are too much for you to handle and you're not going to be able to do it, I can't, it's too much, it's embarrassing, I don't want to relive it. It's being relived within you anyway,
Mm,
whether you realize it or not. So you're operating out of the lens, like you're putting on glasses and you're looking at everything through that lens, and it's causing the outcomes to be what they are. And maybe they're not what you want. And so at the end of that journey, the hard is over in that area. So you have an end in sight. So that's the difference. I think you just pick your hard, know right away that's not going to be a cakewalk. It's not easy. It really isn't easy. And there's going to be times of just, this is work and this is sacrifice. And this takes just really serious intentionality, like we talked about already. It's not just about, oh, that's a novel idea or a wonderful thing to think about maybe doing one day. It actually takes you doing it, because that's the only way to get from being a caterpillar to a butterfly. And, the process that caterpillars go through is painful. It's so painful. They have to go literally like hang upside down, break their heads off to create the cocoon. What? Nobody knows this. What? They break their heads off, their cocoons are made, right? They have this hard shell, they're in there and they're being ripped apart, literally, like to be transformed into a completely new creature. They can't get out early. If they get out of that cocoon early, you go try and help them out early, they die. If they try to fly before their wings are dry, when they finally struggle bust out of that thing and they're fine and they get out and they're hanging upside down, if they try to take off too fast and the timing's wrong, they die. Their wings have to dry. So once
wow,
they get
wow.
to the end of that process and they're flying around and they're doing the beautiful thing we all love to watch, they can never go back to being a caterpillar. They can't. That's the way it is. And that's the way our lives should be too. If you're constantly going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, like, I think I'm healed, I'm not healed. I think I'm healed, I'm not healed. Well, there's transformation hasn't truly occurred then. You haven't gone through
Mm,
enough time or pain, unfortunately. It's, and not to say that you'll always be in so much pain, it just may be for a minute, that you can get through it, right? Because in order to heal, you have to feel. We have to start there. You have to.
mm,
So it's about feel, deal, and heal. You feel it, allow yourself to feel it, deal with it. And how you deal with it is all the strategies that I know that I give you. And then you can heal. And it's gone. It's really gone. It doesn't keep coming back. You don't go back to caterpillar mode.
mm. Wow, wow. That is so good. That is so good. And I didn't know that about the caterpillar process. That's pretty. That's pretty wild.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I have no comment. That was just super awesome. But before we go, you have a book, and it's Behind Enemy Lies. And can you give us like a little synopsis, like a 1 minute synopsis, and then where we can find it and where we can find more about you, Instagram, all that good stuff.
Sure. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. You can find my book on Amazon. You can get it anywhere books are sold, but Amazon is just the place everybody loves to go. And the book, as far as what it's all about, is really my story. It's my story of coming from this place of believing all these lies about myself because of circumstances to being free, and the transformation process that God led me through, how self-development had so much to do with it also, but that God really showed up for me in amazing ways, through the trauma, through the pain, through the abuse. And if he did it for me, he'll do it for you. And not only can he do it for you, but he wants to do it for you. You are just as valuable and loved as I am. I say it all the time, I'm his favorite, but guess what? So are you. So are you. And so the book is really just about freedom. I wrote it to comfort others with the same comfort I was comforted with, which is my mission, is just to help as many other people to break free. That's actually like my battle cry, that we are taking back what the enemy stole in our lives. We will no longer lay back and do the pretty things, the religious things. Like, no, we're done with that. Like, I'm done. And I'm gonna win. I mean, I already win. Jesus said that in this world we will have trouble, and we do. But guess what? Good news, and we will overcome, right? We will overcome. You've overcome the world. We win. So there's no need to like lay around in our victim mentality. And so it's really a story about saying what like Jesus did at the well, or the pool of Bethesda, that there was an invalid at the pool of Bethesda. I'll be really quick. I know we're at our ending time here, but that he said, when he went to heal this man, he was lame, he was laid there for 30 plus years, and he came up straight to the man laying there who could never get to the pool, and he said, do you want to be healed? And I
Mm,
thought, when I first read that, I thought, what in the world? That was the dumbest question, Jesus. Why would you ask that? But that's how I talk to Jesus. He loves me anyway. And so I'm like, that was a dumb question. Of course he wants to be healed. And so I had to read into that further and ask him, why'd you ask that? And he started to show me it's because that man had to want it. He had to choose to drop his victim mentality, because his excuse was, yeah, but so-and-so gets there first, but they always step on me, and all the things. And so it's like, well, yeah, of course he wants to be healed, but here's all the reasons why I can't be healed. And Jesus says, once again, do you want to? And he had to choose. And the minute he chose, yes, I want to, in an instant, he was healed. He didn't have to go through a
mm,
process of pain. He just was in an instant, right? God can do the same thing for you. But we have to decide, do we want to continue to stay a victim and blame everybody else? Do we want to live in our junk, or do we want to get help? Do we want to be healed? Do we want to say, yes, I want to be healed? Because it can be scary to live in a world that we're unfamiliar with, when we're used to carrying around our Louis Vuitton bag and our chains. And when we're free of those, ooh, I don't know if I know how to live like that. Well, guess what? You do. And you can, and it's not that scary, but we have to drop that victim mindset. And so that's really what the book is all about, just showing how that happened, showing some amazing miracles God did in my life of my exodus from exiting abuse and all the things, and that I didn't have to continue to live in that. And so that was the point. And I coupled it with a journal called the Healing and Truth Journal, which you can also pick up on Amazon, to teach you how to journal, in a way that you can hear the voice of God, discover your identity, or solidify your identity in Christ at a deeper level. And then if you want more information about the weight loss transformation and all that kind of stuff, I really work with women through this process of change. And we just go through, this whole process of internal work, dropping the weight first internally, then we work on the external stuff. So I know how to lose weight. I've lost 65 pounds doing this very same thing, not dieting, because no, I've lost over 400 pounds probably in my lifetime dieting, like lose, gain. But this way has really worked. And so this is what I show women now. And you can find out all about that at biblicalbodyplan.com. And you can find me on Instagram, TikTok. I'm on YouTube at Kathryn May, and also on Facebook. You can join my Revitalized Biblical Wellness Facebook group. So yeah, it's all the things.
man, mic drop. That's it. That's it. Go to it. Check her out. Feel, deal, and heal. I love that. And that's where she leads women through that process of dealing, feeling all the feels, then dealing with it, and then going through the healing process. And man, guys, you'll get all the links below in our description to check her out, check out her Bible study, get her book. Just get the book. Don't even think about it. Just go there, get the book. Also, I always like to give our guests just one more, whatever God put on your heart for our audience before we head out. Is there anything you want to share with them?
Well, just, when I go back to thinking about, you can't pour from an empty cup, that whole concept, because we're leaders. If you're listening to this podcast, you're a leader. You're like, I've put the badge on, I've raised my hand, and I said, I'm a leader. Okay. So if you're a leader, if you're just a mom, I don't even like saying that, just a mom, moms are a big deal. But if you're just a mom, you're a leader. Like automatic. Guess what? You didn't ask for it, but you got it. Okay. So we're all leaders here listening to this, right? So you can't pour from an empty cup. You cannot lead others well if you are not taking care of yourself. And Jesus says the two greatest commandments: to love the Lord your God with all your heart, mind, and soul, and to love your neighbor as yourself. How in the world can you love your neighbor, which is everyone you lead, everyone you meet, everyone in the grocery store, wherever? How can you love them well if you don't love you? If you're not taking care of you. So he says, love your neighbor as yourself. And the world has taken self-love to a crazy place. This is not
Mm-hmm.
about self-love narcissistically.
Mm-hmm.
This is about loving yourself. God created you fearfully and wonderfully made, knit you together in your mother's womb. He knows you intimately, right? He knows you. And so it's very important that you start to fill yourself up, to pay attention to you. And just like when we're on the airplane and they give you the whole thing, the spiel at the beginning, they say this thing: if the air mask falls from the ceiling, put yours on before assisting others. You can't want to assist grandma because you love her so much and you're like, I want to serve and lead and I'm going to help her, and you're going to be dead. You can't. You got to
Mhm.
put yours on first. So find ways that you can fill yourself up. And this sometimes people get a little misconstrued about this self-care thing too, and they go, okay, well, that means I need to go get a massage, get my nails done, take a hot bath, go play golf. No, that is fine. Those are fun things, right? Those are things we enjoy. They do bring relaxation into our lives, but they are not necessarily the self-care that's going to lead you to fullness, to overflowing, to pour into someone else's life. And so if you are struggling in areas, then you're not taking care of yourself, maybe your diet or exercise, your mental health. If you're not taking care of those things and you go take a bath and you could leave the bath and you go outside of the hot bath, your problems are still waiting for you. Your, unhealthy body and mind is still on the outside of that tub. You've got to deal with the internal stuff, and that takes things nobody really likes to just sit down and do. Like, what are you so excited to do? I'm going to go journal. No, I've never heard that in my life. And I actually do like to journal, but I've still never said that. So it's very important to fill yourself up first. And if you haven't, if you know you're struggling with emotional eating, this is a big deal. If you haven't, I know you talked about the Bible study, but we're going through a 40-day Bible study, which you can catch on replays. So you don't have to go through it live with us, but it'll be on replays. I would encourage you to go and be filled with that Bible study. Just go through that. It's 40 days, 8 weeks. I know that's a commitment, but even if you go through a couple of them, I guarantee the Lord is going to speak something healing and revelatory and revolutionary. Those are two words we're
Hey,
trying
there
to
you
come
go.
together at the same time. So be filled. And how do we be filled? With the Holy Spirit, right? We need to be filled so we can pour. We have a measure, just praying and asking God for that to be pressed down, shaken, running over, so that we can pour into others, because we cannot do that well if we're not taking the time for us. Even though we want to serve all the people, you will, just, you got to be filled first. Sometimes
Mm,
that starts with being emptied though. Okay.
That is so good. That is so good. That's a whole podcast in and of itself, right there. I mean, that's a teaching in and of itself. Proper self care, and I love that. We had to learn that in our marriage, to even do self care for our relationship, as well as ourselves. And it can look in different ways. Hey, guys, we like to go fishing. We like to go work out, whatever the case may be. I don't like fishing. I'd rather go hang out on the beach and just listen to the waves. So it's
Yeah.
different things, different
Yeah.
methods. So, but thank you again, Kathryn, for coming on, sharing your story, sharing of yourself, and being vulnerable, because it's a process. Even as leaders, as coaches, we share with our clients, hey, look, I've been there, done that, and we may be reliving some of those things, but we're reliving it from a healed place. And people see your heart and they'll hear your heart, that look, you want them to get into that healed place as well. Because when we get to that healed place, what, like you said, we can pour into others, and we can see others that are going through the pain, the process, but we can help from a healed place. And that's I truly appreciate you coming on. And that's why I had you on, because when we initially met each other in that mastermind, I was like, man, you know what? She has a message. She's going to bring hope and healing and transformation to people. But guys, check her out. Go to her website. Check out her book, Behind Enemy Lies. It's super awesome. I love it. I just love this because it's up there up front, behind enemy lies, and getting healing out of the process. And guys, thank you for being on. Thank you,
You're
Kathy, for
welcome.
being on.
Thanks for letting me come.
Yeah, and hopefully we'll have you on again, maybe next year, and you talk about your next book. If you got a next book in
Yeah,
there.
God has given me several. I just need to be obedient, find the time to write them.
But thank you again, guys. Check her out. Thank you for being on our episode. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and go to her YouTube channel, like and subscribe as well. And like I always say, have a positive expectation of God's goodness in your life each and every day. God bless you guys. So, hope you enjoyed this episode. Don't forget to like and subscribe to this podcast and share this podcast, because we need to get leadership tips out there. and have a positive expectation of God's goodness in your life each and every day. Hey, if you want to find out more about what I do, go to joedietrich.com. Go to joedietrich.com and see what we're up to. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.